Now Sun follows certain nomenclature for the package names and the class names, and as well as methods and variables. Now how do we follow this? What is it that we need to follow? The package names are specified all in lowercase. So if you are talking about giving a package name, let's say as test package, as a name of a package, so it should be all in lowercase. Class names or interface names must begin with the uppercase, and every word first letter in the name should be uppercase as well. So for example, if I say test class is the name of a class, T of test and C of class in the name test class should be capital. Method names. Method names must begin with the lowercase, and every word after that, the first letter of every word should be uppercase. Remember, we are beginning with lowercase. So test method is the name of the method, T of test is lowercase, but M of method is uppercase. Then variable names also follow the same rules. So test variable is written likewise. Now any class constants. Now what do I mean by class constants? Constant is a final. When I say class constant, it has to be a class member, so it has to be a static member. So static final variables will always be in uppercase. Completely. Static final variables must be completely in uppercase. Generally that it is followed when you pass arguments to a method, the variable name starts with a A standing for argument. That's again a coding standard used. Now by program, we have seen that we are using the system class and the string class. Now where are these classes, and how come we did not give any import statement to those classes? Now the system class and the string class both are defined in a package called java.lang. Now this java.lang.star is an implicit import to all the Java files. So that's why we did not explicitly write the import statement. Now let's take a look at some of the classes in this lang package. Starting with the class called object. Object is the root class for all the classes. Any class that you talk about, let it be the predefined Java API classes or let it be the classes that you are defining, the parent-most class is the object class. We wrote a class hello world. We did not extend that class from any other class explicitly. So what happens when I compile is that the compiler inserts the extend statement onto the class, extending it from the object class. So finally, at any point, object class is the rootmost class. Now what does this class have to provide us with? It provides us with a equals method, for example, object as a parameter. This method compares two objects and returns whether they are equal. Then we have the clone method, which returns an object Clone is used to make a bit by bit copy of an object. We will be discussing about the clone method, exception handling, and at the end of interfaces. We have the hash code method. Hash code is a method which returns a hash value for an object. We have the wait of milliseconds. Notify all. These methods we will discuss during multi-threading. We also have the get class method. The get class method returns a class object. Now class here, uppercase C class, is a class also. This also belongs to a lang package. Get class is used to make a reflection on a class. Now what do I mean by a reflection? What do you see when you take a reflection of yourself? You see about yourself, right? So similarly, you want to find out what is there in the class that has been defined. Then you need to get the class object for the class for which you want to find out the definition of. So get class is a method which returns a class object. Class is used to make a reflection on a class. For example, let's say I define class A and I would like to find out what are the contents of class A, like what are the variables, what are the methods, and what is the name of a class, what is the scope of the class, what is the parent class for this class, etc., etc., etc. So I can find out by making a reflection on a class. So I create an instance of class A. On that instance, I call a get class method. Now get class is a public method of class object. When you have written class A is derived from class object because it's a rootmost class. So therefore, class A has inherited all these methods. And get class is being a public method can be accessed through an instance of your class. So you create an instance of class A, invoke the get class method, it returns a class object for class A. Now where does it return a class object for class A from? What happens in the JVM is whenever classes are loaded into the JVM creates a object of class for every class loaded into the JVM and puts it into the hash table which the JVM maintains. A hash table is a key value pair. So remember, for every class loaded into the JVM, a class object, an instance, that is an instance of class is created. So let's take in case of your Hello World program. So Hello World is loaded into the JVM. For Hello World, a class object, let's say HW class is a class object for it. Your Hello World class is making use of string class. So string class has to be loaded. So for the string class, a class object is created. System class is also loaded because you are saying system.out.println, for which a class object is created. Similarly, any other class that is loaded, like print stream again. for which a class object has been created. No matter how many times you use the same class, only once that particular class would be loaded, and for which the class object would have been created and kept in the hash table.